Make sure that your call aligns with your gifts.
I just want to say welcome to Common Ground Church and Community. I am Pastor John Perkins, lead pastor of Common Ground Covenant Church in Jackson, Mississippi. And I have the wonderful opportunity to be here with my friends.
I'm Harvey Cozart, pastor Hope City Covenant Church in Richmond, Kentucky.
Andrew Morrell, Real Community Covenant Church in Marion, Indiana.
Mike Thomas, pastor of Radiant Church, Seattle, Washington.
John Teeter, Fountain of Life Covenant Church and executive director of Fountain of Life Antioch in Long Beach, California.
David Washington, founder of Kingdom Covenant Church, senior pastor of Kingdom Covenant Church, Chicago, right here in Rose.
You all's faithfulness and commitment to the cause, and you all are part of what, the engine that keeps me going. Prayer calls and just the check-ins and the time that we have together. So I'm so grateful that you all will be a part of this. But that was land the plane. I asked these questions simultaneously, and I guess you were getting to it. You're starting to get to it. What is it that you want to say to people who are on the fringe, who are really just now beginning to open their eyes? Being woke is the terminology today. But they're just starting to wake up to what's really happening, and they want to know, what do I do? What do you have to say to them? The second question is to the person who has church planting in their heart, and yet, urban church plant may not be, what's in their heart. They may be wanting to go to develop a Starbucks social club. But what do you have to say to that person as well?
I'll start. The person who I would say who feels called to urban church planting, I would say make sure that your call aligns with your gifts. I've seen people who have super great hearts, super strong theology for urban church planting, but you need an apostleship gift, you need a leadership gift, you need an evangelism gift, or you need a teaching gift. You need a strong word gift. And if you don't have that, I wouldn't consider sitting in the seat of the urban church planter, but be a blessing to an urban church plant.
Amen.
And then the other thing I would say is to prepare, be in the Word. And the Holy Spirit will check you, and the Holy Spirit will test your values. So how do you prepare to be a missionary? You learn to suffer. Because it's not sexy.
It's not.
You have to learn to suffer. So my caution to people is to say, start living the lifestyle right now and start weaning yourself off the world. There's a great book by a guy named David Brooks a couple years ago where they talked about these bohemians. And everyone thought they had the bohemian lifestyle. And there were these struggling, starving artists, but they all lived in Soho in East Manhattan. So the book is called Bobos in Paradise because they identified themselves as bohemians, street people, but they lived in $1.9 million lofts in Manhattan.
Oh my Lord.
And I think that's what we see a lot is the millennials that come in and say, hey man, I'm all about the poor today.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'd say learn to suffer now. My favorite story is Amy Carmichael. She suffered in India. Amazing church planting ministry with the girls of Dohnavur in India, one of the poorest communities in India. How did she prepare for it? She writes in her biography when she was 11, she was going to a big event and she was ready to buy a really beautiful dress. And her mom was ready to buy her the dress, and the Holy Spirit said to her at 11 years old, that dress is too nice, Amy.
Wow.
And she said, the Holy Spirit told me not to buy that dress. She had every legal right to that dress, but she knew that I'm preparing. That's how God was preparing her for the mission field. So you have to prepare as a missionary. This is not an experiment.
Right.
The experiment will last
Organic.
a week.
To answer your first question, I think that for people who are interested or want to know more, just kind of cutting their teeth on it, is to, you know, submerge yourself in the culture.
Yes.
Like he just said, missionary work. Partner with urban church plants.
Yes.
Like there's a reason why you have the resources,
Exactly.
and there's a reason why urban church plants don't. And so, do we really want healing? Do we really want reconciliation and restoration? Or do we want to always want somebody to have to need us? And so I think that we really want healing and restoration. I do believe that. And this is how it works, but part of this is giving and receiving. Send some of your leaders into the church to learn, right? Because urban church planters, people in the urban context are brilliant people. And so there's partnerships, right? There's partnerships in this. And then there's also, you know, understanding history and why the inner cities exist. Understanding some of American history.
The decisions that brought the fruit that we have
Yeah,
today.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll add to what you were saying. Those that's thinking about urban church planting, I would first say examine your motives.
There you go.
Examine deeply your reason for wanting to do urban church planting, because I believe if it falls anything short of your love for God and your love for people, you won't make it. You're gonna go through hell to do ministry in an urban context. Your family is gonna go through hell, regardless of their
That's right.
regardless of what they're doing in the church and the level of their involvement. The call is going to take you through the fire alone, and your love for God is what keeps you going, and your love for the people is what's going to keep you going. Anything other than that, you need to seriously take a step back and see if this is something that the Lord is really calling you to do. Because church planting in the urban context, sometimes people are convicted into doing it. Sometimes it is sexy and attractive, and it's like the new thing. We should be doing this. But as you said earlier, it is a calling. God set apart people for this work, and you need to make sure that His hands is on you and His call is on your life.
And if it's done, and if there's partnerships that are formed well between urban and suburban church plants, there is great work to be done right here in this country. There is some great work to be done together right here in this country.
That's a good word. I think that's a good broadcast.
The final word. I just want to say thank you to you all for doing this, being vulnerable, sharing like this, and also thank you to Oakdale Covenant Church and having us here,
Dr.
right
D.
here in Chicago, and Dr. Daryl Griffin for having us. And I just I can't thank you guys enough for doing this.
Amen.
Out of the shadows.
The shadows.
Signing off.
Join us next week.